Who are the 6 rookie sleepers that you need to know about for your fantasy leagues? And of course, right before the NFL draft, it is the audible Cecil, Lammey, Sigmund, Bloom. And Bloom, sleepers, maybe not to our audience because we've been talking about some of these guys, especially Deon Neil, because I love Deon Neil. But we're looking at day 3 picks or day 3 graded players that could come through and make big plays for your fantasy team. And before we get started, Bloom,
Yeah.
the beast is out.
Oh,
And
yeah.
we always celebrate when Matt Waldman's rookie scouting portfolio comes out and when the beast comes out from Dane Brugler, our friend from The Athletic. And now that that's out, we've looked at players that he has ranked as day 3 players. We may have them as higher, but Dane's ranking them as day 3. We're talking about them as sleepers today.
Yeah, I think that, first of all, shout out to Dane. He'll be on the couch next week.
Nice.
And the Beast is essential for many reasons. But first and foremost, it's the background. Some of the background stuff, the background sections, it's just fascinating. It's just really, really fascinating to learn about the path that each of these guys took to get to this point in their careers, in their lives. But the other thing is, this year, third day prospects are more intriguing. I don't think there's going to be as much punch. Bloom 100 will be out next week. I don't think there's going to be as much punch in the first round of rookie drafts as we're used to, certainly like what we saw last year. But the second round, the third round is going to be full of really, really intriguing prospects because the running back class is about as deep as ever. Matt Waldman's RSP will tell you that this wide receiver class is deep, not strong at the top, but deep with contributors. Put them in the right offense, you never know. And also, this is an incredible tight end class. See, so we're going to see 6, 7, 8 tight ends go on the first and second day, but the quality of tight ends on the third day is also better than usual. And you're going to see good players push to the third day. So let's talk about them.
Yeah, let's talk about him and let's jump in with Deon Neil. Uh, I absolutely love him from Kansas, running back. I have a 3rd round grade on him. I believe Dane had him in the 4th. Chad Ryder's talked about him as a potential 5th round pick. But either way, there's a small handful. This is a smorgasbord of running backs and tight ends and defensive tackles. But this is a fantasy show. So running backs and tight ends, there's a bunch of like, what do you want, Bloom?
Right.
There are very few, and even Sean Payton's talked about this. There's very few backs that can be seen as all-purpose guys. In
Right.
fact, I think there's 3. I think there's Ashton Genty. I think there's Omarion Hampton, and I think there's Deon Neil. People may disagree with me. Get as offended as you like, but that's how I see things. And Neil's the player that runs with power, speed, determination, intent, doesn't waste a lot of motion. A player that when I talked to him at the Senior Bowl, he said, because I was like, you got some Kamara to your game. He's like, actually, I think I'm Joe Mixon. I like Joe Mixon. I like Joe Mixon in the 3rd, 4th, or 5th round, wherever he goes. I'm saying Deon Neil's a sleeper.
Yeah, like you said, Cease, he's a good all-around back. I call him a try-hard back. You know, he's a back who gets the most out of what he has. And I think that destination, landing spot's going to be so important. We're going to reshuffle our rookie draft boards. At least you should be reshuffling your rookie draft boards based on destination. Because I think Neil's the kind of player sees if he goes to Denver, if he goes to Dallas, if he goes to Las Vegas, if he goes to Cleveland, he can be a lead back and he can do what Bucky Irving, baby Chase Brown, I don't know, they had Quincelon Judkins and Travion Henderson in for a visit. So the point is you can get these third day backs that can show a team like, no, we're good. We have this guy. Now, Deon Neil could also be drafted to a team that already has a strong running back one, Philadelphia or something like that, and they just want to upgrade their backup running back. And then if and when Deon Neil gets the call, we'll talk about him on the waiver wire show, we'll be like, hey, this guy can play.
Right.
So I think it's just a question of opportunity, but he's a 3-down back. He gets the most out of what he has. And only, in another class, he might be a 3rd round pick. But in this class, like Chad said, this week's couch guest, check it out. Do you know he's a singer?
Oh,
Great
of course.
singer.
Yeah. Oh, dude, he does Alice in Chains covers. Like, yeah, he's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Well, Deon Neil might have you singing the blues. No, a happy song.
Happy dance, doing a dance of joy with Deon Neil. And by the way, Chad has also called this a double draft.
Mm.
it's almost a double draft. So again, Deon
Yeah.
Neil is very, very talented. People could rue the day that they don't pick him, but in this draft, he might be a day 3 guy. Again, I'd like to see him in the 3rd round, whatever. Jimmy Horn Jr., a player that, some varying opinions. I don't think he makes it into day 2. So day 3 prospect, I would say 4th round grade. I believe Dane and the Beast had a 5th rounder on him, but the wide receiver from Colorado, Jimmy Horn Jr., has incredible body control. We're going to talk more about my ball mentality with Jimmy Horn Jr., but for me, it's almost that crazy being able to make circus catches seem routine, tracking the ball well, showing late hands so that he's not just staring at the ball when it's coming to him over his shoulder. He just kind of knows where it's at. If he had eyes in the back of his head, did they reveal that at the combine? I'm not sure because Bloom, Jimmy Hort Jr. plays like it.
Yeah, and this is the age when, what is he, 5'8", 175, but we are seeing more of that size receiver play bigger roles in offenses. And the other thing you have to really like about him is that he can add as a return specialist. So there's so many third-day prospects at wide receiver that have that NFL quality speed and quickness to work with. But can you stick on a roster long enough to develop as a route runner, learn your craft? Because look, one of the things about wide receiver is I don't even care if you're talking about Ted McMillan, Cease. They're all going to have to go through an adjustment period. There's not that many Malik Neighbors, Jamar Chase level guys that there is, Justin Jefferson is all the LSU guys, that they have to adjust like the quality, and also these guys aren't going to respect them the way that college corners respected them. So Jimmy Horn can buy some time to work on his game, and he knows what it takes to be professional because of who his dad is.
Yeah, well, there you go. Why didn't you bring up Oronde Gadsden when we're swapping notes via text of like that's a
Yeah.
Syracuse guy? And also, if we move to the tight end position with Gadsden, and again, bloodlines, NFL bloodlines, my God, freak. And I say that lovingly, a freak athlete at the tight end position that teams are going to go, okay, he's raw, but there's something to work with there. And it might be something big with Oronde Gadsden, tight end from Syracuse.
And what we like about him is if he hits in the NFL, it is going to be as a total wide receiver at tight end kind of player. His value to the NFL is his contributions as a receiver in the passing game. So that's what we care about for fantasy. And I know the name Darren Waller has been thrown out there. I mean, he's in that archetype. I'm not saying he's going to have a Darren Waller career, but let's watch and see, especially, and I stress this often, but I think it has been the clue in that first week after a player's drafted, what you hear the coaches say, what you hear the GM say about the plan for the player and how they viewed the player. So if Gadsden goes to a team that has an opening for a player like that with a coach and a system that has utilized that kind of big slot receiving tight end, then you definitely have to pay attention because, again, in another class, he might have been a 2nd or 3rd round pick, but with the quality at the top of the tight end in class, he'll fall to the 3rd day.
Yeah, and the tight end class is just so thick. There's
Yeah.
undrafted tight ends I'm excited about. The
Yeah.
Fairweather kid from Auburn. Like, we got a number of sleepers, but we only have time for 6. Bloom, we get to the list that includes Damien Martinez, running back Miami. Can he be a better receiver? Like, that's my main question here because we know he's a hard charger. We know that he wastes little motions. We know that he arrives at the defender with violence. He has bad intentions when he runs.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
could be very good for his team. But in terms of receiving ability, screen option, yes. Okay. But teams today are looking for more than just a screen option, unless you're going to be like the Brian Robinson,
Right.
right? And I think he's more violent than Brian Robinson as a runner. But Damien Martinez, running back from Miami, a sleeper in this class.
Yeah, power back. And I think the question is because running back is becoming a segmented position like wide receiver, right? You'll often hear me say, we can remember when Bill Belichick started really the running back by committee movement. Oh, it's too predictable. Which back is on the field? You're tipping off the plane, things like that. No, there's actually very few teams now that have a true 3-down back. And there are a lot of backs, Marion Hampton, Quinson Judkins, Caleb Johnson. These guys could be 3-down backs. I think everyone's looking at Detroit now. I think they're looking at Jahmyr
Mhm.
Gibbs and David Montgomery's. And I'm going to say Dave Montgomery's because I think that you're much more likely, like if Judkins goes to Bengals, he's their David Montgomery, right? Um, Again, we're in Hampton now. He might go to Dallas. He might go to a team that is going to make him their every down back, but he also might be a early down thumper paired up with a more dynamic passing down option, more dynamic space option. Okay. Now, see, so if we're just rating Hampton and Judkins, who are going to go in the first, second round, and Martinez on that B back role, that David Montgomery role, I think they're pretty close to equal, and they could be equally productive. If Martinez is in a better offense, he could be more productive than them.
Yeah, and you know what coaches are saying again from Dane Brugler's Beast. Everyone pick it up at the Athletic. He loves football.
Yeah.
You know
You
what
can
gets a coach
tell. You can
hard?
tell.
Sorry, Joe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you're wearing the
Sorry,
Sorry
Joe.
Joe t-shirt. So
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about NFL coaches that are aroused. They're
Yeah.
aroused by
Yeah.
guys who are like, "What do you want, coach?"
Yeah.
That's Martinez.
That's Damien Martinez. Yeah, exactly. He'll die on that hill for you.
Yep. Yep, for sure. Isaac TeSlaa, I think I pronounced that right. It's not Tesla. Nobody start his car on fire for the love of God. But the wide receiver, Arkansas, again, freak. I feel like this is almost the Gadsden conversation, Bloom, because it's like, hey, he's a freak and he's an athlete and he's got crazy my ball mentality. So he
Mhm.
made your list as a sleeper to watch.
When we're thinking about ceiling, right? We're thinking about ceiling.
Ceiling's
And
huge.
I mean, you're looking at a guy here that from a physical standpoint, okay, from a physical standpoint, he's an alpha. He's an alpha. 6'4", 214,
Mm.
4'4", 340, 39-inch vert, 6'8", 5'3" cone, and 405 short shuttle. Okay, that's
By
like
the way,
slot.
the Broncos brought him in for a top 30 visit.
Yeah, I
What's
mean
that
that.
guy do with Sean Payton?
Well, and look, Cease, there are big, fast, athletic receivers that fall to the third day because we've learned that Dante Thornton. Okay, like Dante Thornton is going to get pit. I mean, he runs 4.3 with a big frame. But like his ceiling is Marquez Valdez-Scantling. And that's not. Hey, Marquez Valdez-Scantling has made a lot of money. Marquez. I'm not. That's not a put down. But like we've seen what Dante Thornton is going to be, and you can project that he can still have a lot of tactical value, make some big plays. But Isaac TeSlaa was at Hillsdale before he went to Arkansas, so he could be. It's kind of like Andre Yoshevitz last year, but he's even more physically impressive than Yoshevitz, who was pretty physically impressive. I think he went to Princeton. So what's there? What's there now? We know that NFL doesn't do as good of a job developing players as we expect them to or we project them to,
Right.
but the light bulb could really turn on for him with I want to see him have somebody take him under their wing, like Cortland Sutton, speaking of Denver, right? Like
Mhm.
somebody who to teach him, like, hey, like Cortland Sutton's probably looking at TeSlaa like, geez, if I was that physically talented, how good could I have been? You know?
Right.
Right? If you combine that game, like you said, he's got my ball mentality. So there's a lot to learn, there's a lot to get there. But from a physical standpoint, he's an alpha, and there's reason to think that we haven't nearly seen the best of him, and I'm excited to see where he lands.
It's going to be exciting to see who gets him on day 3. And finally, a guy that I saw down at the Senior Bowl, and I believe it's Fidone. Correct me if I'm
Fidone, yep,
wrong.
yep.
Thomas Fidone, big Italian family, tight end from Nebraska, who, as long as he's healthy, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, he's been healthy the last 2 years,
Right,
but he had a non-contact ACL.
right.
Medical is going to be important, and
Yep.
that's another reason why some of these guys may be there on day 3. Some of it, especially with running backs, Bloom, it's the depth of the class and the quality of depth pushing talented backs back. With a guy like Fidone, it's, well, what do his medicals say and where are we going to take him?
Yeah, because he tore the same ACL twice. And then he started to round into form. Would it interest you to know that way back when he was being recruited, he was basically considered on a par with Brock Bowers? That That should get your attention. Now, it's possible that back-to-back ACL tears means he's lost something he's never going to get back, but he is a receiving threat. He's a natural receiver. And I look at him like Eric All last year. And of course, when I say that, Eric All tore ACL again, and Eric All's out for 2025. I guess there was a complication or some sort of setback or something, you know. So perhaps the lesson here is, you know, the hurt guys stay hurt or something like that. Or if it's a medicals, if you say this guy's a second round pick except for the medicals, well, you're downplaying the actual. But look, in Dynasty rookie drafts, when we get to the 4th, 5th round, all I care about is ceiling. I just want to know best case scenario. And best case scenario is he gets it all back because he's still young, not like us, Cecil. He's still young. he's still got those recuperative powers, you know. And with landing spot, I want to see the coaching staff. I want to see who's developing him. I want to see what they have to say about him. I want to see if he has somebody that he could learn from. And it's intriguing, man. I love it. You know, we're less than like 2 weeks from today. You'll be on the air for 18 straight hours, and we'll do Matt Waldman and I and many other wonderful football guys guests and non-football guys guests, and we'll just crack it open, another draft, and these stories will get to the next chapter. And it's just, again, I'm going to give a big nod to Dane Brugler. Get the beat. Subscribe. I'm not going to say anything that's going to get the Athletic just to get the beast. Okay. And get it and read the background sections for these players. And especially like when your team drafts players, like go learn about these guys' stories. It's really, really fantastic. Like Emeka Egbuka he spent his summers in Germany. And he was a good enough soccer player to get offered a tryout for the Nigerian junior national team. That's interesting, right? Luther Burden was like a great, great basketball player. Like he was, you know, I think he led his team to a state championship like as a sophomore. You know, I mean, learning these things, adding in all this context. And there are players who grew up, and Jay includes this stuff too, players who grew up poor, players who like have had to fight and scratch for everything that they've gotten. It just adds so much when you understand not the football story, but the human story that is unfolding. And it's great. It's really great that all of you give us the opportunity to do this as our job, because we'd be doing it anyway.
We are here for you on our Audible channel on YouTube. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you never miss a vid. Check out our Football Guys rookie draft guide that is out. Dane Brugler's Beast, Matt Waldman's rookie scouting portfolio. Got to have them all. You Dynasty owners out there, you fantasy GMs, we are here for you. It's the 20th season of the Audible. And Bloom, we're almost to 20 exactly because we started with draft previews. I can look up the exact date, but we started with draft previews, so we're back to that.
Yeah, well, and it's our original love, you know. The Audible was born out of that. We spent 3 hours talking on the phone about the draft because we were geeking out that there's another person who had more than 3 hours of things to say about the draft. And you said, why don't we just record this and release it to the world? And like, this is where we've ended up. But it is because the draft is so stimulating. And I like to say any football conversation, they all intersect with the draft. And this football conversation has been going on for 20 years, and here's to 20 more.
20 more, that's right, and hopefully better New Orleans internet. Anyway, he's Sigmund, I'm Cecil, we are the Audible. Everyone stay tuned, and as always, stay frosty.